So you just saw a Samsung Z Fold 7 and you're thinking about switching from your old iPhone to the Z Fold 7. Is it worth the switch or should you just get a newer iPhone? Let's get into this video. The Z Fold 7 is now a lighter phone than the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and it basically gives you flagship capabilities but also the ability to do this, to become, for iPhone users, the equivalent of like an iPad mini. It's not exactly as big as an iPad mini, but it's like right there in terms of like the size. So imagine having like a 16 Pro Max type of phone when it's closed up. Imagine having that and then you open it up to have like a iPad mini in your pocket. For iPhone users, I know your mind is probably like, holy, that's actually kind of sick. That's kind of tough. Maybe I need that. And to be honest, maybe you do. You might be used to AirDrop and iMessage and all those things, but I promise you, there is life after the ecosystem. There is life after the Apple juice. If this is going to be your first Android phone, I definitely recommend you try it. I think it's going to be a great experience for a lot of people. I think Samsung's cameras might just surprise you. A lot of people have been thinking Android cameras suck for years and years and years without actually trying Android cameras, and now the Fold 7 is upgraded to the 200 megapixel main camera from the S25 Ultra. And to put that in perspective, that basically means that this foldable phone that is thinner and lighter than your 16 Pro Max has a main camera that is just as good as your 16 Pro Max's main camera, and maybe even better in some circumstances, and actually better in some circumstances when you consider the ability to shoot in 200 megapixels, which allows you to crop in a little bit more, blow up the image a little bit more, and also just do a little bit more work in the raw file and stuff like that. These camera systems, they might actually surprise you, and the video capabilities on Samsung devices have been amazing for years. And if you're curious about the cameras, or like you don't think they'll be good, check out this video that I filmed last year of the Z Fold 6, the previous model, versus the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which is the most current iPhone right now, before the new iPhones come out in September. Check out that video because I think the Z Fold 6 actually held its own, even though on paper it's supposed to have way worse cameras than the iPhone 16 Pro Max. So imagine the Z Fold 7 with better cameras compared to the 16 Pro Max and other iPhones. And one thing that I think iPhone users might be interested in particular, is the ability to use your exterior screen as a viewfinder. So I have some clips on the screen right now. You can use your Z Fold device's main cameras as a selfie camera or hold it for vlogging and stuff like that. So you can see the viewfinder from the exterior screen and use the main cameras. And the software is really good because when you do that mode, it blocks off the input on the inside screen so that you can just put your hand on the screen without interrupting it. There is a little slide to switch back to the inside screen, but if you just have your hand on the screen, you can mostly ignore that and literally just vlog or do whatever you want. So there is that. But now I think iPhone users would also like the fact that you can prop up your phone wherever you want. So you can use the built-in Hinge as a tripod, and you can actually say cheese, or you can put up your hand like this and the Samsung phone will take a picture or start a video. So hands-free videography, hands-free photography. You can also stand it up like this vertically, and this just allows you to do different things, like get a group shot with people very easily without having to ask someone to hold your phone. You can get long exposure shots under the night sky without needing a tripod or propping up your phone. It's just built in. And like I said, the main camera is as good as your Pro Max, your 16 Pro Max. So yeah, I mean, very versatile device. And now talking about the inside screen, coming from iPhone, you don't have split screen, you don't have simple things, even like a clipboard and all that stuff. Samsung devices have those things, and the experience is even better on a foldable phone because you can use the split screen to its fullest ability. Like now that the outside screen is almost the size of a normal phone, you can have basically two normal phone size screens or apps on the inside, side by side. Like that is pretty wild. Before it was good, it still worked on the other Z Fold devices, but this year it's just almost like a normal size smartphone screen. Then you can rotate the phone and have even more normal-ish size for both of the apps in split screen. And this phone also allows up to 3 apps in split screen at one time. It will look a little bit small, but if you mess around, because Samsung software is very customizable, very tweakable when you're multitasking and stuff like that, you can tweak it to different sizes, alternate the layouts, and save app pairs to your home screen, to your taskbar, and the edge panel. So Samsung software, it goes as deep as seas. There's floating windows. There's so many features that can help you with getting accustomed to Samsung software from an iPhone user. But I promise you, it's worth learning. And to be honest, you can ignore most of that stuff and still have a great experience. Your Samsung phone can be as simple as an iPhone, just straight out of the box. Like literally just get rid of the apps you don't want. Just like iPhone, there's probably like 20 apps when I use the iPhone that I have to get rid of or get them off the home screen. With Samsung devices, it's pretty similar. They have some first party apps that come pre-installed on the phone. You just get rid of them. You can even select them all at one time, and then you just keep pressing uninstall or disable. So it's very simple to set up, and you can just use the phone. You have your basic gestures just like on iPhone. So you swipe and hold up to enter into your recent apps that you can swipe through them. Then you have your back gesture. So this is something that iPhone users are not used to or haven't experienced maybe, but when you swipe from either side of the screen, you can go back, and that is basically anywhere on the phone. So if I go into like multiple pages on the internet browser, I can swipe from the right side or swipe from the left side, and it will go back. I can also swipe out of the app to go back to the home screen. Anything you do on an Android device, swiping from the sides of the screen will allow you to reverse that or go back to the previous page or the previous thing you were doing. So that is a really nice gesture, and I think you might even appreciate it. Then you have things like the clipboard and the keyboard where you can have, you know, your recent text saved. You can copy like 10 different things and have them all saved. You can even pin things that you copy in the clipboard and continue to paste them. Like for example, an email that you want to paste consistently, maybe you paste it every day. You can have that in the clipboard and you can just go there and tap it to use it. Then you have the edge panel where you can quickly access apps and do split screens or floating windows, or just have the apps accessible really quickly, and you can have many different apps set there. You have the taskbar where you can do similar things. And one of the coolest things about the Z Fold devices is that you can have two different layouts for the inside screen and the outside screen. And of course in software you can turn this off if you don't want that, but I think it's really cool because on the outside screen you can have it focused to using your phone for quick things, and then on the inside screen you can have it more focused or geared towards using it for full screen things and multitasking and stuff like that. You can have app pairs. So app pairs is basically just saving your split screen sessions so that you can just click the little icon and open that same split screen session in the same orientation that you had before very quickly, rather than opening one app then going into split screen and stuff like that. But yeah, there is a lot of good things about Samsung software that I think iPhone users would appreciate if they give it a chance. And the fact that the cameras are better this year, there's not really much holding you to your iPhone. And to be honest, even the charging speeds, this is something that like people who've used Samsung phones will complain about. But as an iPhone user, you're already used to like 27-watt charging speeds at the max, and probably a lot less if you're using like stock chargers and stuff like that. So the charging speeds are going to be similar, maybe even a little bit better. The battery life is not going to be as good as let's say you're coming from like a 15 Pro Max or something like that, then battery life is not going to be as good. Or any Plus models from 14 and up, you're probably not going to get as good battery life on this phone. However, I think it's still pretty decent considering what you can do with it. And depending on who you are, if you're not somebody who multitasks a lot, then you will have pretty good battery life. If you're somebody who doesn't game a lot, you will have pretty good battery life. Something you're missing out on this phone, like it has really good performance, but if you're somebody who plays high-end games like Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves and stuff like that, then an iPhone 16 Pro Max or iPhone 16 in general will just be a lot better in terms of performance and thermal performance. Because like look at how thin this phone is compared to your normal smartphone. Like this is two halves. It's very, 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 very thin. So of course it's going to be kind of hard to manage the heat in this phone. The gaming performance is still pretty good though. It's just the high-end games at max graphics. You can even lower the graphics to get better performance. So there is a lot of flexibility with using this phone, but it's something to consider. Overall, there are so many different features on this phone. If you want to use a stylus like the iPad mini, unfortunately this phone doesn't support the S Pen anymore, but it's still a great phone and still has a lot of benefits in the foldable form factor that I think you might appreciate. So if you're considering upgrading from an older iPhone, this is going to be an upgrade, no doubt, for sure, even especially in the cameras. And I know that's something that a lot of people think about. If you're upgrading from like a more recent iPhone, like a 14 series or 15 series, even a 16 series, I still think it will be a great experience, especially if you're willing to learn, you know, the software stuff and, you know, go deeper and learn the features. And even if you keep it on a surface level, just the fact that you have a regular phone that is really good and you can open it up to have a tablet that is also really good, and the cameras are good, and then you have the hinge and the exterior screen is a viewfinder for selfies and stuff, I think it's still a great experience for people who have top-end recent iPhones as well. So should you upgrade from your iPhone? Honestly, I say yes. I think this is a great upgrade. So that is all for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you are going to upgrade from your iPhone to the Z Fold 7. Until next video, we're out. Peace.